Okay, so um, this is where the game concept is at the moment, which is based on uh, this old script. Which, if we play this, just to give you an example. Alright, so this one builds a whole bunch of houses and stuff, but they're all the same effectively, just cycles variations in each of the presets, but it builds forever. So you can have an infinite kind of world, but the houses are very basic inside. They're just boxes, really. They're not really very detailed. So the next incarnation of this, which is what I've been working on for the last few months, is this one, which is still very much in sort of prototyping phase. Now if we set this one up, fell through the floor. That's a Roblox problem, that's not my problem. If we set this one up, and it doesn't keep falling through the damn floor, I don't know why it's doing that. Fascinating. Well, maybe if we move that to there, maybe that'll solve the problem. Okay, so for some reason it doesn't like that plate. It might be too thin. Anyway, this one generates random houses, but it also generates them in such a way that they have all different rooms, and all the rooms are random, and the windows are random. And if you have downstairs, then you've got like this really extended basement that can generate underneath, like a little maze kind of thing. And I've got no idea how they'll turn out every time because they're completely random. So that's the basis of this particular script. Now it's missing some cosmetic stuff, which will come later, but I also have these AI that will track and follow the player based on a few certain conditions. So if you're in front of it and you get too close, it'll see you. That's symbolized by the head turning red. It'll follow you. If you break line of sight, it will lose you and then go back to randomly wandering. They do have 20/20 vision, so it's not like they have a cone in front of them. But they are very... if you're behind them and you're close enough that if they turned around they would see you, it goes yellow. If you get way too close to them, it turns red. Basically like you touch them. So these things are going to be zombie kind of things. At the moment I can use them. They are useful for some things, like obviously they'll have some kind of attack animation when they're done. You can go and play with them. Yeah. But all the houses are, as you can see, generated randomly. I won't go into how it works, just that it works. and it took a long time to figure out. And these are all made from primitive blocks, so there's a few thousand lines of code that sort all this out. Once you work out where your positions have to go and everything like that, and it makes a logical construction, then you can worry about making the windows variable or the doors variable, or like just finding where the door's supposed to go is basically the hard part. The rest of it's just kind of time consuming. I will say that you do get some odd shaped houses that I have thought about writing in a few things to make them a little bit prettier and a little bit more sort of geometrically, I don't know, rational, rather than ending up with them being these weird shapes. But I think it's a pretty good start considering it's better than boxes anyway. And the next thing is probably to make sure that the furniture spawns in them randomly as well. Now, as far as the map size goes, I'm thinking maybe run a road out to there, round, and then back this way, and then have going sort of in that direction, like a T intersection there, and then on the same on the other side. So we'd probably be looking at another 2 houses, 2 there, another 1 on the end of each of these, and then a whole bunch across that side of the road. As far as a game space goes, that's fairly large for any kind of shooter, but the emphasis of this game is going to be on exploration, so having a lot of houses to explore which may or may not have basements or various things inside should be reasonable. Now, having the zombies walk around applies pressure for things like if you're sort of trying to hide from other players or get away from something, or you need a specific resource. I can program the AI to guard it a little bit better. Having them slow and sort of dull does help with that, but there obviously will be other NPCs once I kind of work out what the load limits are on the AI calls. You can't just have like infinite number of AI that react very quickly to any given thing, because it just puts a huge amount of load on everything. So yeah, if we just sort of compare the two, you can kind of get an idea of where the other one's going. So I mean, you got this one versus this one. I suppose the other thing is these are a bit more interesting with the procedural grass and everything. I do need to fix up the roofs. I'm not sure how I'm going to solve that problem. It's fairly simple for the double story, but the single story or the first floor is fairly complex roof line, so I don't like having parts overlap. Most of these are calculated so that they don't overlap at all. There's a few things with the stairs that do, but I just haven't got around to fixing that. But getting this roof line to merge properly will be quite difficult. If I'm doing a pitched roof, if I'm doing a flat roof, it's fine. But as you can see in this one, it does add a bit that these have verandas and some have pitched roofs and some don't. It does add a bit to the actual sort of variation of them on a surface level. They're not different really, but they do have enough visual differences to make them sort of not all look the same, whereas these ones all have that kind of, haven't had that added to it yet. Adding in things like verandas too will probably help, and trying to maybe get rid of small little gaps like this and build it in. Have like a closet or something in there. Will be a nice upgrade to the script. I'll probably do the same with these as well.